If we have input this time, there we go. Oh, hopefully no soft locks. I don't know why the game like is so frequently soft locking on like the very start, but you'll occasionally start the game and then you'll just have Gomez in bed there without the little star animation beforehand, and you never get character control, which is extraordinarily fun. Hopefully that will happen at AGDQ Devolution, and we'll have to restart the timer like 3 times. Alright, Grumpy, I need you out of the way so I can do this jump. This works every time when I'm doing it in practice, and then never when I'm trying to do it around. Which is great for these frame perfect tricks. It's one of the reasons why no one is going to miss this when it gets patched out. There we go. And the trick there is basically that you have to be coming out of a death animation and hit jump on the very first frame, which incorrectly does your momentum and causes you to fly all the way to the left like that. Yes, there will definitely be lots of trolling. There's only a couple of sections where I am intending to play completely nice. That's when he's doing some of the very difficult jumps. But this is a game which has a lot of oddities and soft locks and problems, and so it will probably be an enjoyable experience. So we will once again smash up extra here and there, which holds the world together. Probably not a good idea to destroy it. But Gomez has never been about good ideas. Now, one of the things you don't necessarily notice just watching a speedrun is how much multitasking there is, because you can be inputting button codes while the character is frozen or in the middle of cutscenes. And so you're actually kind of preparing for some of the next sequences. That's actually something I lose a lot of time on, is just not being able to get the codes up ahead of time because I have to read them off my notes. I just don't have everything memorized yet. Oh yeah, and so if you want to shoot me a note on Twitch, I'm going to be at the event very shortly. I'm actually leaving on New Year's Eve. But once we get together, we'll probably have some time to sit down and chat about the Final Fantasy run. Alright. Managed to not hit B, which causes a soft lock if you have Dot's conversation up there. That's just a glitch because I have collected that early cube. And then Dot's in the middle of 2 different conversations at once. Come on, Gomez, you can do this. There we go. Finally. I guess we'll take the long way around. And I avoided collecting the map there, although I think it doesn't make a big difference because you do get a mandatory treasure map much later on, which we'll get Dot's conversation in regardless. And doing that rotation right at the end there for the double skips one last little bit of dialogue where Dot reminds you about how to use the doors. At 6:51, we're getting slower. The time that the speedrunners are usually hitting is around like 5:30 for that first segment. I try to do my splits as close as possible to the actual runs, just so I can like compare them. Although I'm not super obsessed with what I'm getting. Yeah, there are some problems with Anycube computation. I believe those are actually fixed in the next patch that's coming up, so you don't have to worry about which rooms are bad to get multiple cubes in. There's a lot of situations where it's actually good to get multiple cubes because it gives you a chance of skipping one of the cube animations. Most of those I can count, but for the 10 one, I'm never sure whether I'm hitting the button one too many times. It will pretty frequently eat your inputs, which is more typically a problem on the rotations, but for the cue or for the bell puzzle as well, which is the reason I do the 10 one last. That way, if I overstrike it, it usually does not give me a bad result. Taking advantage of the blocks getting moved out of position when you're in the middle of the rotations while they're sliding around. I know I should be able to make that last one without having to do a ledge jump. Now let's do it. Doing that wraparound jump there lets me save having to bomb open that door. Normally that's your first introduction to bombs, and then you get the one by the waterfall door, having already knowing what to do. And this is one of the screens where you can save huge amounts of time with the teleport jumps that I am not doing. Teleport jumps are basically getting yourself wedged between two planes. And then because the game doesn't quite know what to do with you not being at the very back or the very front, when you do a rotation, it will put you onto the wrong axis, and so that gets you flipped from left to right. In addition to being like really tight and precise timing, it's also like mentally challenging because the direction that you're doing for the teleport jump is the reverse of the one that you would be moving on the screen. Alright, and I am not doing a shortcut here, which you'll see in the speedruns. If you fall directly onto this 2-cube door, you can cheat death, even though normally that would be a fatal drop distance, but the game doesn't handle it correctly if you fall onto a door that's opening when you're able to grab it like that. Alright, this is super early black holes. Those guys are probably going to be plaguing me on several maps to come. Fortunately, they get reset every time that you go in and out one of the main doors. See if we get the double. Nope, we got both animations. I'll have one more spot where I can try for the double one to save 4 seconds. Alright, rhythm room. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the point of leaderboards for this game is. It doesn't really make sense. Gomez. There we go. Alright, looks like I'm about a cycle behind where I want to be. That's not too hard to recover from. And it looks much harder than it actually is. It's actually a pretty fun room once you get the hang of it, especially the first section. Like, I thought that would be like super intimidating, but it turned out to not be too bad. And I still do like a lot of improv through there. If you actually know a path to go through, it's even more interesting. And as you get more familiar with the routes through and kind of like the micro optimizations and rooms, I think the game gets a lot more fluid. Like initially when I was kind of doing it, it's like very jerky. You're kind of looking at, okay, here's the next platform, here's the next jump. How do I get around to it? But the more you do it, it starts becoming like, oh, I see how these things are connecting together. And you can put together like some pretty creative sequences that just are very, very continuous series of jumps. And obviously I'm nowhere near the level of like the actual good speedrunners of this game. But I still have a lot of fun doing it. Alright, now we're going over to the fourth section. I'm not sure why they don't split here. Some of these splits are significantly longer and more challenging than others, but I can see kind of like the rhythm room where you've got very cycle-oriented things going on being like a significant one to take a break on. Gomez, thank you. Every time I go through that, I realize I'm going the wrong direction, which there's often many, many ways through a particular room. And just having to learn which one is fastest is something I struggle with. please. Fortunately, the visible platforms count as solid objects for you to respawn on. I remember the first time I got through some of these invisible platforms, it was a lot of trial and error because I didn't know about the treasure maps yet. But you could obviously see that there is something that you're supposed to be grabbing onto. And you just eventually jump around from all 4 camera angles until you hit it. That's not going to work, Gomez. Let's put this in its correct spot. Gomez is giving me trouble tonight on this puzzle. You can get around there. Gomez, just drop. Thank you. A little bit of shenanigans there at the end, but still ahead. I just did 2 of the codes. One of them is the achievement code, the other is the QR map code. And that allows me to get another chance at the double cube pickup. Hey, we actually got it. We jump off the side. Nice. I don't know why that QR code works better after having gone in once before. Okay, crank time. The vines in here, for some reason, don't seem to work quite like the vines elsewhere. I think because they're on these rotating panels. And causes no end of frustration with, like, sticky platforms. Which way am I supposed to be? Probably this way to start with. That feels better. The telescope's got some cool puzzles with it. It's unfortunately a little bit too slow to use. You get the red heart cube here as well as another heart piece. Do we have black holes? We have black holes. Let's actually get on you like this. Not my favorite orientation, but that's a little bit of something of a strategy to remember which way to go up there when my primary route jumping up is blocked. These tuning fork puzzles actually require that vibration on your controller. It'll tell you what the puzzle's code is by vibrating on the left and right side exclusively, and you just have to mimic it. Alright, let's see if the mysteriously not working bookshelf is working today. Nope. There we go. I hate that one jump, just because you clearly are going through the shelf. Sometimes multiple times. Gomez. When I did my first playthrough, I was really careful about not getting any spoilers, and so it probably took me like 5 hours to find 32 cubes. Most of them were gold cubes, like I only had a couple that were hidden ones. But fortunately I knew that this was like a very heavily puzzle-based thing where I wouldn't necessarily want to get the spoilers to it. But I can definitely see that there's a couple where it's just super frustrating. You can clearly see something's not right. But for that I found the map particularly helpful, where it actually shows you which areas you've completed. we'll find out if I have missed any cubes very shortly here. Going back to the floating island for the second time, this one with the populated village. And if I've done it right, I should have 31 cubes and 7 bits coming in here. I do have a backup cube, which is going to the classroom in the 8 cube door in the waterfall world. Costs like a minute, minute and a half. If I go all the way out here, it's probably like 2 minutes to backtrack there, but... Can we get it? Can we get it? We got it. I mean, for this game, especially some of the puzzles, I can see that if you want 64 cubes, you probably are going to use a walkthrough. It would be really, really frustrating to figure out some things like the clock puzzle, where you have to wait around for a week for the last cube to appear. The clock puzzle is probably the only one I think that's like just dumb, but the other ones, there are some that are really, really devilishly hidden, or like you have to know to go into first-person mode in certain spots, and I definitely do not begrudge people that want to use walkthroughs for a lot of these. Come on, Gomez, you want to go through there. There we go. I think I am still ahead. I don't believe I was here until after 33 minutes last time, but I still have to do this climb. This climb and the ending in general, I'm not a particularly big fan of. Like, the very first couple of minutes are somewhat uninteresting until you can start doing the waterfall section, or at least the section right before the waterfall, where you're getting the 8 cube bits on the way up. And then everything past the Stargate, I think they probably could have left out, and it would have been a perfectly good speedrun. You'll see me moving a little bit back so that I get more jumping speed. You have to get a bit of a running start in order to get your max air control on the jumps. And otherwise, I would be hitting more of the corners if I didn't do that, because it'd be like a very, very straight up and vertical jump. Alright, let's see where Owlface is today. I'm not making that one. I'm probably not making the one on the other side either. Let's do a full rotation. Oh yeah, there's a lot of games which have achievements which are entirely meant to be read off of FAQs or walkthroughs. It's something of a consequence of those things being available for every game now. It's like you're not expecting people to do things on their own. There's a bit of a change in style from a lot of the 80s and 90s adventure games, where the devilish stuff was often very strongly hinted at just to give people something of a chance. I don't know which model is better. I guess it depends on whether you like to be unspoiled and find things out on your own, or you like to be completionist. Like if you want to get everything, then definitely walkthroughs are the way to go. Come on, 36. You can do it, Gomez. Get up faster, faster, faster. 35:57. So arbitrary time barrier broke.